I was lied to. Well, maybe lied to isn't exactly the word, but there were things I believed about moving abroad that I wish somebody had explained to me before I left. I thought coming to the UK, earning in pounds and working hard would eventually give me the financial freedom I was looking for. I thought like once I get there, things will be different. And honestly, I had every reason to believe that because when you're coming from home and you're looking at everything from the outside, you see the currencies, you hear about the opportunities, you hear that people are earning pounds, and you start doing the calculations in your head. You think about what that money could do for you, your children, and your family back home. But there was one thing I didn't calculate: the cost of the life I was coming into. And that is the part of moving abroad that I want to talk about today. Because if you're already abroad, you may have experienced this yourself. And if you're planning to come abroad, I really want you to hear me out before you make the move. Because when I first came, I didn't immediately realize that anything was wrong. I was excited, grateful, yeah, and focused on starting this new chapter. I had come from I have come here for a reason. I wanted a better life. I wanted better opportunities. And most importantly, I wanted to create a better future for my children. So, in the beginning, my mindset was already simple: get a job, work hard, earn money, save money, and support my family back home. Yes, I genuinely thought that was the formula. But slowly something started happening. The money was coming in, but it didn't feel like the freedom I had imagined. And that was when I started asking myself a question that I couldn't ignore anymore. If I'm working this hard, why do I still feel like I need more money? That question is actually where this whole story began. Because when you're looking at life abroad from the outside, it's easy to focus on what someone else earns. You hear someone say they are earning how many £1,000, and immediately you compare it with what the money would mean back home. But when you actually live in here, you quickly realize that earning the money and keeping the money are two completely different things, because now you have rent to pay, you have the bills, food, transport, childcare, taxes, unexpected expenses, name it all. And then there is the responsibility of being a mom. You still have children who needs you. You have a family. You have the responsibility. And if you are anything like me, you also have people back home that you could love to help when you can. So the money that looks like a lot from outside suddenly has many different places it needs to go. And that's when I started understanding something I hadn't really understood before. It's not just about how much you earn. It's about how much left after you finish paying your bills. And I think this is one of the hardest things about being an immigrant, because sometimes people back home see you and think she's abroad, she's earning in pounds, she's fine. And you understand why they think that, because that is what it looks like from the outside. And they don't see the calculations happening in your head. They don't see you thinking about rent. They don't see you thinking about all those bills and child cares you complain about. And sometimes you don't even want to complain because you don't want people back home to think you're ungrateful. Because you're grateful and you know that. But being grateful and being financially comfortable are not the same thing. And that distinction became very real to me. Eventually, I started thinking about my income differently. Before, whenever I thought about making more money, my first thought was, I need more. I need to work more. I need more hours. I need two jobs, you know. But then I started thinking about my life as a mom. How many more hours can I realistically work? How much more time can I take away from my family? How long can I keep telling myself that I will rest later? And that is when I asked myself something very important. What if the answer isn't always working more hours? What if the answer isn't getting a second job? What if you could learn something that could give you another option? I didn't have the answer yet, but I knew I needed to start looking for something, and that was what led me to digital skills. I started learning about digital products, Canva, ChatGPT, and digital marketing. And I want to pause here because I don't want you to misunderstand me. I'm not sitting here telling you that I have figured out everything. I haven't. I'm still learning. I'm a beginner. I'm still trying things. I'm still figuring out what works and what doesn't work. But something changed when I started learning. For the first time, I wasn't thinking, honestly, how can I work more? I wasn't thinking about that. I was also thinking about what can I learn? Those were the two different questions I always ask myself, because when you only think about working more, your time becomes a thing you constantly exchange for money. But when you start developing a skill, you're building something that can potentially give you another option. For me, that option matters, especially as a mom, because I don't believe immigrant moms should have to choose between being financially secure and being present for their children. I know life doesn't work that simply. I know we have responsibilities. Honestly, I know sometimes you need the job, sometimes you need the salary, and sometimes you need to work those hours because the bills have been paid. I am not saying quit your job and go online. Please don't misunderstand me. That is not what I am saying. What I'm saying is, while you're working, why not also learn? Why not develop a skill alongside your job? Why not give yourself another option? Because you don't know what your future will look like. And I wish I had misunderstood that earlier. If I could go back and speak to myself before I moved abroad, I wouldn't tell myself, don't come. No, I still believe moving abroad can open incredible opportunities, but I could tell myself, don't just prepare for the journey, prepare for the life after the journey. Don't only think about your visa, don't only think about your job, don't only think about the salary you earn in pounds. Think about your skills, think about your finances, think about how you're going to create options for yourself. Because getting abroad is one thing, building a life that actually works for you is another thing. And I think that's the part nobody talks about enough. And honestly, this is probably the biggest financial lessons moving abroad has taught me. A bigger currency doesn't mean you get a bigger life. You can earn in pounds, earn in dollars, and still have financial pressure. You can work hard and still feel like you're not moving fast enough. You can be grateful for being abroad and still admit that things are difficult. Those things can all be true at the same time. And once I accepted that, I stopped feeling like I was failing. Instead, I started asking myself, what can I do differently? And my answer for now is learn. Learn a skill, learn about money, digital products, how to create, how to sell, build something. I'm not saying I know where this journey will take me, but I don't want to remain exactly where I am. And this is exactly why I decided to start sharing this journey publicly. Because I know here there are other immigrant moms sitting somewhere right now having the exact same thoughts. Maybe you're working long hours, maybe you're exhausted, maybe you're sending money back home, maybe you're looking at your salary and and wondering where it all went. Maybe you're thinking there has to be another way. I know that feelings, and I want this channel to be a place where we explore that together. Not from someone who has already made millions, not from someone pretending everything is perfect, but from someone who is starting. I am starting too, and I want you to see what happens when an ordinary immigrant mom decides to learn something new and build from where she is. So if you're an immigrant mom and any part of this story sounds like your life, subscribe to this channel. Not because I'm going to pretend I have all the answers, but because I'm going to show you the journey as it happens, the skill I'm learning, the things I'm trying, the mistakes I made, the things that work and the things that don't. And if you're planning to move abroad, I hope you take one thing from this video. Don't only ask how much will I earn, also ask what skill can I build, because you never know when that skill might become the option you need. I am Dara. Call me Dara. I am learning, building and figuring this out one step at a time. I will see you in my next video.